Hi, I'm Patty.
I'm Kim Michelle.
And I'm Jill. Welcome to our podcast. It's a great day to talk.
Because honestly, what day isn't a great day to talk?
So join us in our conversation.
A Great Day to Talk is brought to you by St. George Design, offering complete website design, social media management, search engine optimization, Google and Facebook ad management, and many other digital and print marketing services. stgeorgedesign.com. And by Richardson Brothers Custom Homes, third-generation builders who have been building custom homes in southern Utah for over 25 years. They will take your dream home from concept to completion. Contact richardsonbrothers.com.
Hey.
Hi, everyone.
Oh, hi, Kim Michelle.
Wait, I can't hear anybody.
Oh,
happening
really?
here?
I can.
Maybe you're
kind
not
of.
one.
Except I'm really loud, so I can always hear me.
I can't hear anybody.
I can
Really?
hear you.
Oh, there we are.
Look at that.
Hi,
Hey, hello. Hey,
Hi, listener.
Can you thumbs up, people, if you can hear us out there? If you
what is
saw
that?
our
What are
live
those little words on the
announcement?
screen right there in yellow?
Yes, and I would like to share,
We're having some technical
Copy
difficulties.
link. Send a link.
Because Patty was being so proficient, she sent out a little message that said, "Hey,
We're gonna be on
podcast
in
in
five."
five," and
Yeah.
then we got some notice saying, "Hey, you guys have been banned
For saying podcast in 5,
or
and I don't know.
something."
I don't know if that is like code
subversive
for
that
something I don't
Patty
know.
Put on there.
I don't know
Because I don't,
either.
you know
I have
how
no
you know
idea.
how bad went to good and fat went to thin and all the things. Did podcast in
I think
5
so.
go to something naughty
It
I don't know
totally
about?
did. And
Probably while you were
hopefully-
gone to Florida that it
Hopefully,
happened.
it's
Yes.
as fun as it sounds.
Yes. Well, no kidding. Absolutely.
Something's
Hopefully
got to
this
be
is
fun. Something's
fun.
got to be fun these days.
Exactly. So usually we can see who's on and we can't see anyone, and we see these little yellow words up there that are probably
too
saying
small
you can't go
to read.
live. But we're going to assume that we are. So welcome to the podcast.
our
We're so
producer,
happy to have you here.
Sean is diligently
Yeah, he's
handling.
giving us a thumbs up.
Yeah, so you are Facebook Live. The comments, we'll get them working.
Awesome.
All right, there you go.
I'm writing
There
a
you go.
letter.
So-
Dear Mr. Zuckerberg.
Yeah, exactly.
Marcus,
Because
this is your mother speaking.
and totally what you have to fear is 3 women in their later. I'm the later.
No.
The latest.
In
but
Act 3, we're not saying
yeah,
later.
in
for
Act
heaven's
3.
sake.
Well, Act 3, the Crucible is pretty.
No, that's
I
Act
mean,
4.
That,
Act 4 is ridiculous.
Okay,
Act
but-
4 is
Yeah.
the hanging.
I know, but Act 3 it gets pretty feisty.
You
in
guys just
there.
ruined
yes.
that book for me
Yeah.
now. I can't read it.
Well, you shouldn't then.
Yeah, never.
Just saying. Just don't even bother.
I'm not going
Just
to.
because it's one of my
I already know
favorite
what's
books
coming.
of all time.
Yes.
Exactly. So, welcome to the podcast. A great day to
Hello.
talk. We're so happy to have you with us, and we're so thrilled to have Miss Jill here with us.
What?
Yeah.
Yes. Always
And
thrilled.
to have Miss Patty
Oh.
back.
Yay!
Patricia's
a
on.
little
Oh, look.
hiatus.
Thumbs up, thumbs up. People are giving us thumbs up.
Yeah, there we are. So we're
Let
gonna
us know.
let
Let us
Patty.
know if you're her.
Yeah,
take
so
girl.
I'm glad to be back. I missed you ladies.
Missed you.
I know Christmas vacation from school was a couple weeks, but when I got back and a couple days later, I was like, I got to get back out of here. So, so took another week off. No, I did. I got to go to Florida to celebrate a friend's birthday and be with a few other friends, and probably we just need an excuse to do something. And
Yep,
it was
Patty's
awesome.
back.
I am
Patty's
back
back.
from Florida.
Patty's back.
And I had 2 students today. They're like, I'm sorry I was gone last week. I was in Florida. I'm like, what? Is everyone just trying to get out of some of we don't even have bad weather really
We don't.
here.
It's been
but-
gorgeous, actually. Yeah. So.
But I mean, every day I could go sit out by the pool and read my book
Oh, see, I can't do
and
that.
yeah, it's not that warm
yeah, it's
yet.
not that warm. Yeah.
You were in shorts and
I was in
flip-flops.
shorts and flip flops the whole time, and
So
it
we
was
love her
awesome.
and hate her at the same time.
Yeah.
It's a love, that's how it works sometimes.
Well, that's how I feel about myself.
Yeah.
I love myself and I hate myself. So I missed out on last tribute, and so just wanted to say to Miss Kim Michelle how sorry I am that I missed the tribute to your dad, but I know what I read about what you wrote about your dad was such an honor for you to write for him.
Oh,
so
yes. Thank you.
wow, it's amazing. And I kind of feel like it would be nice to hear those things while we're live.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah, how do we do that?
Well, one of the things that I feel so good about is that my dad already knew all those things.
Yeah.
You know, not everybody in my life does. I can definitely do a better job of sharing those things with my husband, for example. But my dad, he knew how much I adored him, and I knew how much he adored me. So those words did not go unspoken prior to his passing.
Sure.
So I'm forever thankful of that.
That
yeah.
you had that time, I think, when things are sudden, and we miss out on that opportunity, but where you were able to visit him and knew that he wasn't well and had that time to spend.
Yeah, and
that's-
even before then.
yeah, for
you
sure.
know, I mean, let's face it, I'm the favorite daughter.
Well,
So-
yeah,
Sorry,
you
Stephanie.
were his baby
child.
girl.
I'm the favorite child.
You're the oldest girl. You're the oldest daughter.
For sure.
yep.
Yeah. And I do feel like all of us had a very special, probably, relationship with our dad. I think mine, and I hope this is true for anyone. I hope all of you choose to have a very skewed perspective of your parent that only sees them in the most loving, kind, generous way, because you can't change the backstory. You can't change the history. So I don't know how it serves you to see it in any other way than to see it that way. So I'm sure that there are those who would disagree with my view about my dad, and I don't really care. It's my view, it's my story, it's my history, and that's how I'll choose to remember that.
Well, and I think I know we all did the very best we could as parents and as people, and when we learn better, we do better
Right.
every time. And I love that you just said that you expressed your love all the time, and I know, Jill, you did too.
Yeah.
With your mom, and
Yeah.
you do now with your dad and siblings. And
Yeah.
I think some families are better at that, and some it seems a little more uncomfortable. But
Probably many.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
more
yeah,
uncomfortable.
right. And
I feel lucky to be able to feel comfortable in doing that.
yeah,
Even if it's uncomfortable for my dad to hear or
Yeah.
whatever. But
mhm.
Yeah.
Yep. I think that I am more demonstrative with my parents today than I have been early on, and of course in my teens and 20s. I didn't really hug and say I love you. Our family wasn't like that, but we've become more like that.
Yeah.
And so we definitely don't get off the phone anymore without saying I love you, and we
Right.
don't leave the room with
What
the house.
I think that's just beautiful.
yeah,
I
and
know, I really do.
And so I hope my parents know that I honor them as you honored your dad right now while they're still here to honor. And I know, Jill, your mom knew you loved her so much.
yeah.
Yeah.
So.
She forgot it the last 2 years, but
But that has something to do with dementia.
has a teeny tiny
Yeah.
bit to do with dementia.
Yeah. And I would say that, you know, maybe she didn't know it in her mind, but she knew it in her being, and that's the most.
Well, she
That's
let me
the
take care of
greatest
her.
gift.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she let me take care of her the
Right.
last couple
Yeah.
of days,
Right.
which, you know, I'm forever
No
grateful
one-
that I had
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
time with her.
No one wants to be taken care of and vulnerable, especially as a mom. I think we have to be the strong ones. And so to have our kids take over I think we would be very resistant. I know
Yeah.
I would be resistant. I know my own mom has been resistant to that.
Yeah.
And
My
And I'm
dad
sure-
continues to be resistant too, and
Sure.
he's, it's heavy,
it's heavy.
friends. It's heavy lately.
Right. So today we were talking about our topic, which I think we're just going to title this podcast "Getting Through January."
Yeah. Honestly.
Right?
You know, we really sat around and said, gosh, that really, because we like to maybe bring a little bit more hopefulness.
Yeah.
But that is the hope, to
Yeah.
get through it.
Right? That's see, there's the twist right there.
Yeah.
But really, you guys, it hit me when I looked at the calendar and it was only the 16th
I know. Could you believe it?
And honestly, well, I get that we've only been back for 2 weeks. One of the things that I do at school, and it's for this very reason, is that we have Hot Chocolate Friday every Friday in my classroom, because it's the only way that I manage to get through January. Like, it's real right
Hot
now.
chocolate, that does it.
It's hot
That's
chocolate.
enough.
Well,
What do you put in your hot chocolate during?
And here's the thing:
I'm gonna
I
come
don't
down
even,
and look in your drawer.
Right,
Yeah, Patty
seriously.
and I are going to join you in your classroom.
You won't be able to, because it's locked in a cabinet. But honestly, I don't even have the hot chocolate. It's just having it and having it for my students and seeing their faces when we, when I pour it for them, they come up, I make them let me pour the hot water for them, because it's like that. It's that one time a week that I can serve them in a loving way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
Oh,
it's
what a
like
beautiful thing.
the only thing that gets me through January.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the thick of it.
It's real.
It is real.
Yeah. The struggle is real. And I so believe in the power of language. So often I'll really work to not use language like struggle, because I don't want to invite struggle in my life. And at the same time, gosh darn it, I don't want to pretend something is something different than what it is. And that is the truth for me, I really felt like I was doing so well through my dad, and part of that is because we knew the inevitability of that. And you get to throw yourself right into working and serving and
preparations.
and writing this beautiful tribute, hopefully, to him. And
It was.
but then I lost a dear friend yesterday, and I am a wreck.
Well,
a wreck.
and your stepfather passed not long
60 days
60
before
days
my
before
dad.
your dad, and he was a huge part of your life
Yep.
as well, which we talked about him and his impact on you and your family as well. And so getting on with January, I think we've come off the Christmas high, in a way, the holiday highs of being busy and planning and preparing and
Sharing time together.
yes, and all the things that you were scheduled out, and now you're just like, okay, wait, now what do we do? And you kind of, it's like that serotonin drop. Also, I kind of feel like, all right, Christmas is over. We're spring. I need spring now. None of us are real. Well,
Winter
I know
peeps.
you're not a winter peep. I don't need the winter. You don't need the winter.
No.
And
Wait. But we're going to send this out. But we do need the moisture. So please,
yes,
Mother Earth, let the moisture drop in
Yeah.
the mountains and let it be there where it belongs, so that we can get out of this drought.
Yeah, our rivers and lakes really need water as well.
Yeah. So
Our
anyway,
fishies,
gosh.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I know, Scott, it sounds such like a whiny. I don't even know how we survive the temperatures in the mid 50s in January here in St. George.
We could honestly live in Salt Lake City or, that area where they have so much inversion now that it's almost
Yes.
a daily thing. And while I recognize that, one of the things that I've been, I've read and heard from many people over the years is that we all feel our own heaviness. We can't compare our heaviness to someone else, because our heaviness is our heaviness. And, I've been listening to Brene Brown. I always listen to Brene Brown, but I'm catching up on a few. And I've been listening to her episode with Willie Nelson and his son, Luke Nelson, who is an amazing musician as well. And actually, on the way over here, one of the things that Willie said was, you just you send out what it is that you want and you intend, you put it in a thought bubble and you send it out, and then you let it go. And then you live without the ruminations and without the fear and the anxiety and the worry and all of that. And I thought, you know what? That could be a really great mantra for January,
Yeah.
Yeah.
for getting through the seasonal affective disorder of January.
I always phrase that and then this and or something better, and then release it to a power greater than me.
To me, then.
Yes, to
Yeah,
Jill.
we send all of
That's
our
exactly
intentions
what I
to
do.
Jill.
I send it
And
over to
make
Jill
them
and
so
then
number one.
Make Jill manifest it.
So in my sophomore language arts classes today, we did write some poem. We were writing a poem. Right now we're brainstorming, but we read a poem, and then this poem is inspiring us. It's la la la. What is it called?
That's not the name, I'm guessing.
It's not. It's
Burt Bacharach.
Burn the Old. Anyway, and we're talking about how do we. It was a full moon this week,
Right.
and I love to do the burn old
Oh,
and then add oxygen to the fire to send the intentions out.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love that.
And so that's what the poem will be: is what do we want to get rid of in 2021? What kind of things we want to say? Okay, I'm done with that. And lots of things. The poem talks about, there are many things that can be burned. Lists of vegetables, and I imagine she's talking about grocery lists. Like, you have things written down, notes,
Yeah.
to-do
Yeah.
lists, and whatnot. And so we talked about how we can burn the old to ash, and release the oxygen of the new into the flames, up into.
so
I
crazy.
love
and,
that.
And so I know it might have been a little bit woo-woo for some of my sophomores. Are like, what? Intentions? Manifest? I'm going to need a dictionary. But I think some of them got it. I think it'll be fun to revisit on Friday and see what some of their brainstorming ideas were.
That's so crazy
Yeah.
you did that, because last week my students wrote a letter to the year 2022.
Oh, fun.
So we analyzed 2 different poems, which is crazy.
Well, this idea came from an email from you.
really?
I just went to the link and searched a couple
oh
other
my
things.
gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So thank you.
Okay, thank you. You're welcome. Didn't even
I'm
know.
not there in that school.
No,
Listen.
we don't
Then we
share our
did-
emails with her anymore.
No, not with me. I'm the one on the end.
Yeah.
No, but we analyzed the poem Old Lang Syne
Yes.
from the poet 1767 from Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
And then we read and analyzed the poem from Amanda Gorman, New Year's Lyrics,
Yeah.
in
Yes.
which she
Love her.
mentions
Old Lang
Old
Syne.
Lang Syne.
Mhm.
And so we compared and contrasted those 2 poems, honoring the past and then inviting in the new and
future.
what the new
Yeah,
can look like.
Love it.
So the kids, that's what my kiddos did. And so I had them bring a stamp, and I taught them, okay, get this.
Yeah.
I
you
How
got
to
it.
address an
Address a
envelope.
letter.
How
An
to
envelope.
address an envelope.
They're like, what is
Mhm.
this
I
square
have to do this every year.
rectangular
Look at
piece
Sean's
of paper
face.
that you lick on one side?
Sean's face is like, what? Yeah, seniors in high school, we're learning how to address envelopes.
Yeah, they
But-
don't know where it goes.
That's it.
Yeah, it's
or
interesting.
what goes where.
Mhm.
So, and then in a year, I'll mail them those letters back.
Yeah, I
so
love that you
I
do
love
that.
that.
was really.
Is that for your seniors?
That my senior, well, I did it with my juniors as well. But
Oh, good.
at the end of the year, my seniors will write a letter to themselves in the year,
Okay.
in a year, and I'll mail those to them as well. But
Did they know how to address an envelope?
no,
No.
nobody
Uh-uh.
does. I have
I
to
have
teach
a
them every
son
year.
on a mission. He does not know how to send mail.
Right.
And he does not know how to receive mail. I said, I need your
Oh.
address so I can send you something.
Where
don't
do
know
I
what
get it?
I have to send it to the main office because he does not know how to get his own address.
Interesting.
I just gave up. I'm
Does
like,
he have?
Yeah.
So he does have a mailbox or?
he has a mailbox. He's in an
Okay.
apartment in the United States. He can receive postage,
Uh-huh.
Right.
but he doesn't know how to say yes. 135 South, 300 East,
Sean, I
city,
need to-
state. It was very frustrating.
Yeah,
I hate
yeah.
to tell you, I've been teaching my seniors for the last 7 years how to address an envelope to themselves. And I tell them, dudes, you got to know how to do this. I mean, you're going to send packages to people. I know you are.
Where do I put my email address?
Where I don't, what do I have to put? But anyway, interestingly enough, that's kind of the
Right.
thing.
I love
so
that.
we did that. Yeah, it was really, really, and they, I didn't read their letters because that's between them and the year
Themselves.
2022.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's kind of a
That's fun. That's
yeah,
fun.
interesting.
Yeah, we did the Amanda Gorman
Oh, it's such an
as
amazing
well,
poem.
and
New Year lyrics, folks.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
need to read the
Mhm.
piece.
And anything by her, her new book, her new compilation of poems. think it's in my bag in my car, but I don't have it. But
It's so amazing.
it's amazing. It really is just
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
24-year-old
Amazing.
youngest poet
Amazing.
laureate,
Yes.
youngest poet to be asked to speak at a presidential
Inauguration.
Yep.
inauguration.
Mhm.
Look at us. We've kind of come over a little bit of a hump of a
Yeah.
of a
My
funk.
students, I did have to explain Old Lang Syne. And then there was one student who knew the tune, and he and I kind of sang the song a little bit.
Yeah.
And so everyone could hear it. Like, some of them were like, oh.
Yeah, okay. Well, it is kind of a weird song.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
all
I played the
acquaintance-
one by Mariah Carey,
Oh.
and then they went, I know
okay.
this song.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Played the very original one from Scotland, and then the one by Mariah Carey, and they didn't get the first one, but they got the second one.
Right. Good
So,
idea. Good
anyway.
idea. Oh, you're so good.
No, that's just,
Yeah.
let's think about the new year, folks. What
Yeah,
do we want for
yeah.
the new year?
And we talked about what do you want to add to your life? What are your intentions, and how do you want that to come back to you? And so instead of a little bit of resolutions, which we talked about a couple weeks ago too. So,
Intentions. yeah.
intentions, yeah.
Yep.
But today, I think what we talked about most together was kind of the difficulties of January and difficulties of this third chapter,
Yeah.
where we are still taking, we've taken care of our kids, and we continue to take care of our kids, which we all love to do. That's fine. But now we're taking care of our kids, our friends' kids, and our parents, which we also love. But it just seems to be oftentimes a little bit, it can be heavy.
Heavy is a great word for it.
And for me, that heavy is not being able to do all of the caregiving.
Yeah.
Feeling bad if I didn't get to someone that I know needs something.
And how do we come to a place for ourselves where we have to recognize we can't do everything and not feel guilty about what it is we can't do?
Yeah. Right. And I struggle with that because I feel bad if I can't meet someone, if somebody needs me, and
Right.
Yeah.
I want to be
Do you
there.
think that's somebody else's expectation that you feel bad when you can't meet it, or an expectation that you place on yourself?
Oh, for sure. I think it's an expectation, because I think anybody would understand if there was, if I would understand if someone wasn't
Yeah.
able to do something, but
Isn't it interesting? This is what my therapist and I talked about, how the expectations for ourselves are not the expectations we have for others.
well, and my therapist said, is that your value or your mom's value? And I think because my mom was so good at taking care of everyone but herself, I feel like that's the expectation to live up to,
Yeah.
in a way.
Yeah. And I'm just realizing that Jill and Patty are my therapists, and they both have therapists. So I'm thinking maybe I might be into some trouble here.
You are in trouble. You're in trouble. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
I think that part of this whole conversation really does just come down to that it's outside of the blame, shame, guilt conversation, where there's nothing in that conversation that can feed your spirit in any way, shape, or form. Outside that conversation, to be willing to embrace the feelings and emotions that you're sitting in without judgment towards yourself is a really powerful place for you to be able to get. I'm not saying that I can work myself there, but it would be a healthy place to be able to work myself there and say, would I make this choice to do A, B, or C? Would I make it of my total free will, or would I make it out of a place of guilt or perceived responsibility, or, and what do I make it mean about who I am if I choose A, or I choose B, or I choose C?
Well, and I think that's do we value us as human doings rather than human beings? And a lot of us get our value in doing.
Yeah.
And a lot of that could be doing for others. And I have friends, they're sitting next to me, that do for others all the time. And I'm constantly saying, like, how do you keep, I didn't even think about that person, but you got that done and you got that done. And where's the time going? I swear I'm not just chilling on the couch all the time. And I have another gal friend, April, and we think that she must be able to.
She intues it.
Yeah, I think she's a time traveler, but we call it something else, and I've lost it right now. But
That's 2 losts for tonight for you.
2 losts.
Uh-huh.
I've lost. Oh,
You've
well,
lost
we're
2
just getting
things twice.
started.
You must
2
need a
in 24
vacation.
minutes. Yeah. No, my neurons are still trying to work themselves
Catch up.
back.
Yeah.
No, she is transport. She has a time transporter.
Teleporter?
She teleports, yes. And I'm all, well, how did you get that done and this done and that for that? And you did this and that. And I just don't know how she does it, but she must teleport as well. And you guys are all conscientious of others' needs.
Well, I've always
Which is a great-
been in amazement about April around that.
Yeah.
She always.
Yeah, to a fault. I want to tell her, and she might be listening right now, but she's going to need
a
to
fault,
put
April.
her oxygen
Yeah, to a
mask
fault, April.
on. Put your own oxygen mask
Yeah,
on for
girl.
once.
Are you guys putting your oxygen mask on?
Not every day.
I would say no.
I don't think mine's been on
For
for
sure.
a while.
No. Mm-mm.
Why do you think that is?
You
Michelle?
know, I just, there's a part of me at some level that must believe that taking time for others is a saintly cause, but taking time for self is something
Selfish.
other than that.
Right.
Yes, April. you
And
teleport.
I have not resolved that conflict in my own thinking, right?
Right.
So, I mean, I took some time when my dad passed I took some time from school, but even today as I was working through school, I really was just like, I need to take some time.
Yeah.
I'm not
Here.
fully present, and I'm looking at my kiddos in my classroom, and they're not getting from me what I feel like they need to be successful in this moment, even though I'm giving them everything I know to give them in this moment.
Right.
I can't give them anything more than what I'm giving them. I need some time. But I'm like, well, I don't have any time. I'm new back into the school system. I don't have days. I don't have time.
I just buried my father.
I just buried my father, right? I got to power through this. That's what you do. You pick up the pieces, you move on. And I dismissed that very real awareness to me almost as fast as I had it because I didn't know what to do with it. And so it was uncomfortable for me. And because it was uncomfortable and I didn't know what to do with it, I replaced it as quickly as I possibly could.
Right.
Right. I agree.
That's hard.
Definitely.
Oh.
And when I like that you said you can justify to the world why you need to go do this for somebody else, but when you do something for yourself, it does feel selfish, especially if you didn't grow up in a home where you saw anyone self-care. There wasn't self-care in the home. And no, my mom was not about that. She just worked and worked because that's what she saw. And I think we are changing that, but there's still that little
Not
bit
soon
of,
enough for us.
yeah, that little generation before us that makes me feel a little bad about having some time to myself.
Yeah.
I just talked about that with Michelle, and it's a matter of, well, I can't slow down because what will that look like?
Yeah. What happens to the world?
And not
if
only what
I
happens to
just
the world,
slow
but
down?
not only that, but what does that mean about me
Oh,
and my grit and my ability to, I mean, for heaven's sake, I have a father that was, he fought in the jungles for a solid year while my mom was home giving birth to a 9.5 pound baby by herself, and I just think, oh, okay, suck it up, buttercup, for me, not
Yeah.
my mom. But
right.
I think that's part of the reason why it's so hard to step into saying, okay, I have got to really just take a break.
Yeah.
And we know that self-care is so important just with our longevity today versus the longevity of generations before us.
Yeah.
That was, they didn't go to the doctor. There wasn't the medication that we have. There's not the
Better
the
living through science.
Right. There's not research that says deep breathing or meditation or exercise or yoga or, all of the things that we need to be doing for ourselves to put our own oxygen mask on first before we're going to be good for others. That was the generation was pull your bootstraps up and get to work. And
Suck it
that's
up.
how you get through this. And even though we have research that suggests self-care is healthier,
Yeah.
we still have the twinge of guilt.
More than a twinge.
Yeah, and if I self-care, I don't always tell my mom.
Right.
And not
Shameful.
because
Right.
not because she's going to be like, "Oh, I can't believe you got your nails done," but because I know she didn't get her nails done.
Yeah.
I think her first pedicure she ever had, she was probably 50 years old.
Right.
Where
I don't think my mom ever did anything like that.
right.
And she worked from dawn till dusk. And so what's my problem?
I think therein lies the biggest awareness that is easy to see consciously, right? But it still doesn't make it easy to deal with.
Nope.
But that is that comparison. As soon as you put yourself in that comparison place, you've taken yourself out of the real conversation about self-care. Because inevitably it is the comparison between, well, okay, but ... they did this and they did this and they did this and they never needed this, they never needed this, they never needed this. So who am I if I do? And what we make that mean. So it's a sure sign that you're probably not in the healthiest conversation as soon as you are aware you're in that comparison conversation, but it doesn't mean that you know where else to go,
Right.
right? Absent that. Yeah.
Right.
It's all three of us.
Well, and I think I've talked to a few friends that are teachers besides you two, and there are a lot of interesting expectations for everyone these days. Parents have different expectations for us, and it's not an expectation of I respect and trust you as
No.
much as this is what I think you should do for my kid without knowledge of the classroom. And so the expectations for all of us, I think in general, are very great. And when we get some negative feedback, I think then that just takes us to a different level of comparison and not good enough.
Yeah, I think that's true too. And we speak of the profession we know,
Yes.
right, which is education. But I think across the board, you're seeing that in many professions where the change of expectation is changing faster than we could have ever imagined. And the expectation that you're going to respond immediately, for
Right,
example.
right.
That's across the board,
Yeah.
I think.
Yep.
Regardless of what time somebody sends you a message,
I emailed you an
are
hour ago.
expected
Yeah.
to respond with
Right.
immediately with a very thoughtful and respectful response. I think that is across the board because I came back to education out of the professional arena, which I'd been in for 15 years since I left education initially. And I'm telling you, the expectation was that I was pretty much available 24/7.
Right. That
It's-
is true. Yeah.
And I don't even know where to go with that because that's right where I'm at. I mean,
Yeah.
I would never. Well, okay. So, and I believe I heard this on NPR. November was the largest month on record for people leaving their jobs.
Yes,
Yeah.
I did hear that. Yeah.
Mhm.
I read
And
that.
That does not surprise me,
Mm-hmm.
considering the immediacy that everything now is.
Yeah.
And the you need to fix this because I'm not happy, as opposed to let's see what we can do together.
Yeah.
Right. Or you're a professional sitting in your position. Here's what that potentially looks like. It is almost like we work for this, in this particular instance, which is education, we work for the school district, right?
But we don't.
work for the school.
Let's be honest, we don't.
But the expectation is, honestly, that you work for the parent.
Yep.
Sure.
And I think that the parent very much believes that to be true. And even though the student, I think if you ask the student, a lot of times the student would object to what even the parent is sending.
Right.
Well, and Sean, on a college level, what do you see?
It continues.
Okay.
Yeah.
So whatever parents are teaching the kids, those kids bring that to the college side. So even my first day of class, I say, I will not and do not talk to your mom and dad. But whatever mom and dad would say, those are the emails I get from the kids.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
And the phone calls
Yeah.
and the messages. So
Yeah.
Ugh.
Rather than teaching ownership, accountability,
Responsibility, right?
And
not
grit.
blame, not shame,
it's not
just
supposed to be hard.
responsibility.
Yep.
I said to a student today, I'm like, this poem isn't meant to be easy.
Right.
It's meant to cause you to think, because we're going to be analyzing for our argumentative essay. And so I want you to analyze this. This is practice for thinking, but in a poem way
right.
for this thinking. It's not meant to be, let me just fill in the blanks and not learn.
Right.
It's meant to make you think. And the kid's like, oh, I know. But it is hard. And instead we want things, I think, hoops jumps as a public. There's a lot of hoop jumping. But
I think it's just such a
disservice.
catch-22, I think, because if you gave what I hear from parents sometimes that it is they think that they want, if I actually gave that to your child, you wouldn't want that.
You'd be mad.
Because your child would not get ultimately the growth experience that we all hope they get within the classroom. At some level, and this is across the board, we get to choose to show up in a place of trusting one another in our communities, in our in our families, in our social groups. And I just think across the board we've lost that.
I agree. Trust that we're doing our best. That's the one thing I really struggle with, is that someone would think I wasn't doing the very best I could and cared and was compassionate and concerned about their child's growth and their child's learning. And that's probably one of the most dagger to the heart when someone says to me that
That you're a 4.0 killer.
Yeah.
That
It's such a trigger, right? Because then that
you're like,
goes right
I
to
care
the
so
core.
much. Yeah.
That you've
Right to the
ruined their
core.
students' opportunity for a scholarship
Right
because
to
you
the
gave
core
them
of
an A-.
who you are. You're so unfair. You're intentionally undermining my child.
That you're around trying to decide.
Those are the ones you want to defend forever.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you're defending it to the parent who probably will never hear it.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
January,
Yeah.
folks.
Sean?
Mhm.
my favorite is, you didn't teach me anything.
Oh.
And my response is, you didn't learn anything.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole,
Right.
it's, oh,
Uh,
What
you
did you-
can
what did
lead
you
a horse
do?
to water.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
agree.
There's a lot of heaviness that comes from January,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that it is exponential this year. I think that our
I do
experience,
too.
we've been in a pandemic for 2 years now.
Yeah, like wait, well, it's already 22.
I know.
Like, I started.
I need my
Yeah.
friend Susan to tell me what the term is. There's a term for the actual blur of time during the pandemic.
Oh,
I've got to text her and find out
What's it
what
called?
that is
I'm calling
called.
it mental atrophy, but that's a little bit.
oh
Yes.
yeah, that could. Well, and we know that with just the learning lost from our students over just that one.
Just get it done.
One quarter.
Do the Zoom, get your packets done, get out, move on.
And
Yeah.
then any from
and
that
get 11%
online.
and then you pass.
Well, from that online learning to even the students that were maybe immune compromised or their family members were, so they stayed home online, and then that loss too. We're seeing that,
Yeah.
and it's unfortunate. Not only educationally, but even socially
Emotionally,
too. But
socially.
social,
for-
emotional.
Absolutely.
Yeah. January is tricky for sure. It's a long month.
We haven't been paid since the day before we left for Christmas break.
Yeah, it's December
Just in
22nd.
case anybody's
Yep,
wondering. Teachers get paid once a month.
the last day of the month.
Yep.
When you talk about
The last
January,
day you teach, right?
think
Yes,
about
business day.
January 2020. All
Yeah.
the things that took place in just January of 2020 before
Right.
COVID even hit.
Oh,
Right.
I remember
gosh.
going, there was supposed to be a civil war. There was supposed to be a war with North Korea. There was supposed to be, there was all these things that just went crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, when we got back through mid-February, like, oh, we made it. We're
Mhm.
going to be okay.
And then
Right,
COVID.
right.
Yeah.
And I was in California at Disneyland in February 2020 and went and visited my friend's son who was in the hospital. He was in California.
with pneumonia.
It was some sort of flu. They weren't sure.
Yeah, do you remember that?
Yes. And we went in and they said, you're going to want to put gloves and a mask on. But they didn't call it COVID, but he couldn't breathe. He had to be on oxygen. And he's a 19-year-old now. He did have asthma. And, but him getting up from bed to the bathroom took everything out of him. And his mom was in Mississippi. And I said, do you want your mom to come out? And he was on a mission for his church. And he said, no, I'm going to be fine. I don't want my mom to come. And he was in the hospital for over 5 days. And it was a couple weeks later that
News hit.
she flew back from Mississippi, drove to California, picked him up. Like he was on the side of the road, picked him up and drove him back home.
Yep.
And because everyone was like, if you have COVID, get out.
Yep.
And they drove through Las Vegas and there were nobody on the street.
Yeah.
And then I don't even know, but I like the mental atrophy because I think there was a lot of that too. That's probably not the word Susan has,
No,
but
Susan's. I'll as soon as she lets
Yeah.
me know. But
Yeah.
that's it. That's really like we've had this time warp. We've had this kind of chaotic social public thing going on in our society.
Mhm.
We have a lot of fighting between people and positions and, all of that, all the
Mhm.
things. And the tendency to check out is real.
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
there's a lot of heavy.
Yeah, and I have a lot of friends that, and my kids are just like, I don't listen to the news. I got off.
Yeah.
I can't take any more
Yeah, Judd's my
Um,
filter.
negative stuff.
Yeah.
I think that if there's anything positive moving forward, it really is to just be willing to acknowledge, okay, sometimes the season is hard,
Mhm.
but we can do hard things. I think it is pretending that it's not when it feels like it is that
Right.
makes it that much harder. So choosing to acknowledge, gosh, this is honestly the space where I'm in, and I can have all this internal conversation with myself that is about, well, how does this space serve me, and wouldn't it serve me better to be in a different space? But the truth of the matter is, this is the space I'm in. So it's okay to just acknowledge that and be with that and to say, okay, I'm in a season, and this season right now, this season of January is a season for me, and I'm not going to make myself bad or wrong about it.
Mhm.
It is what it is.
Well,
you should be the therapist.
yeah.
Michelle just said that almost verbatim to me today.
Yeah.
What would happen if you just let it be
Yeah,
Yeah.
and acknowledge that it is?
it is what it is.
And could you add a little more self-care to your day or to your week?
Could I personally?
Yeah.
Oh, there's no, yes,
I
there's,
don't know, but really that article, there's that article about teachers and nationally how bad it is right now.
Yeah.
And how so many are leaving. And one of the things that it says is quit preaching to teachers to do more self-care.
Yeah, I didn't read that. Okay. And
because you've got to give them the
Oh.
space to do
well,
that.
well, that's the thing that bothers me is you need to take
yeah,
this
take
off.
some
da-da.
time.
okay, and when do you want me to get this done? Because this is how
and
I'm
who's
judged.
finding me a substitute?
Right. Well, and
Yeah,
that's part of it too.
Who's
Well, that's why
authorizing
Salt
my
Lake went on
substitution?
line.
Tachypsychia.
What is it called?
TACA, which means stop, right? That's what your heart does when it goes in tachycardia.
Sounds like mental
Tachypsychia.
atrophy.
Tachypsychia.
If it stopped.
Thanks, Susan.
Wow.
Yeah, well,
There you go.
There
Word
you
of the
go.
day.
yeah, word of the day. What is it?
Tachypsychia.
Yeah.
Tachypsychia. Can anyone type that on? How do we spell it?
It's how exhaustion, drugs, or trauma mess with our sense of time is what it is. Tachypsychia.
One word.
Yep.
Okay.
Tachypsychia.
I'm going to need you to text me that word because I.
Yeah.
Oh, exhaustion, drugs, or trauma mess with our sense of time.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah. Exhaustion.
Yep.
Can do it. Being overwhelmed, of course. I get
Of course.
brain fog.
And you may not even be able to pinpoint why it is. And I think that's okay too. I think sometimes we think that we have to know why it is we feel the way that we feel. And if we can't identify it, then somehow the feeling isn't real. And what I would just say is if you're feeling it, the feeling is real.
Right.
And that's enough. And do what needs to be done in your space for you to be able to embrace that and not make yourself wrong about it.
Right.
And do
So
what
can we-
needs to do to feel healthy.
Can you learn to give yourself a break if everything isn't perfect? You might not be able to have time for the pedicure or the deep breathing or whatever it is that you
Well,
do.
and let's be honest,
but-
not all of us have the money to do that either.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But can we give ourselves a break? We say, I did the best I could. Kim Michelle, you said today, I did the best I could. I had nothing else to give, but I know I need to do more. So you say, okay, I was able to do this much today. Tomorrow I'm going to be able to do this much. And if I hit this mark, great. If I don't, I write a list of my list of what we're going to get through today is on the board. And I go, I've got all this planned today. I'm going to see where I can get to, but it might only be to here. And if we only get to there, that means we've talked deep around all this stuff, and I
Yeah.
have to be okay with that.
Yeah, and I think that the world gets to be okay with that because
Yes.
more and more everything is going on the online so you can see what everybody's schedule is. And I can't tell you how many times I have a parent call me that says, you were supposed to have a quiz today and you didn't have it today. And, you know, my son stayed up all night to prepare for that quiz.
Well, isn't that
your
great?
son was not ready for that quiz.
Right.
No one in this class was ready for that quiz. So I made a decision as the educator in the room to spend time with them to get them grounded in the material before I quizzed them on the material. You're welcome,
Yeah.
parent,
Yeah.
because that's what we do. So
Right.
I'm putting that out as it's more of a guideline.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. They're like, you said you have a due date on here. And I'm like, I'm sorry, it makes me have a due date. We'll finish it when we finish it.
That's right.
In certain classes.
Yeah.
Not all classes. Some classes definitely have
but
due
at some
dates,
level that goes back to
Yeah.
trusting, right? We
Yeah.
get to trust each other. I get to trust, parent, that you have the best interest of your child. You get to trust too that I do too, because I really do.
Yeah.
Right. I'm a professional.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
really do, and I care about your kid. And right now, this is the decision that best supports where your kid's at, even if you don't like it. Me holding your child responsible, I know you hate it, Mom and Dad. I know you hate it. But trust me, 5 years from now, you are going to be so happy
That someone
that
did.
I let your child appreciate what it looks like to be responsible, and that you can come back from a decision that wasn't necessarily responsible and still show up in your life and win. That's
Right.
what we're going for here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Pure
And
oxygen.
scene.
So today is January 19th, which means we have
2
11,
weeks.
12 days
12
left. 12 days left.
Till
And-
payday.
Till payday. Yeah, and February's short, and then we're into March and spring break, and Easter is in April and May, and the weather
May
gets better.
is graduation, and then we're in summer.
Yeah. So, and I don't want to be the type of person that wants to rush through a month or a day or a week. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to get to Friday. No, I want to be present in my day, and I want to take each day with gratitude, because every
'Cause
day,
it's a day not
every
everybody
day
has.
is a gift, and not everybody
That's
can
right.
get to work, and not everybody does have friends, and not everybody can has the opportunity to be with
That's right.
with you two. And
Aw.
so I don't want to race through a day or a week or a month, but January we are going to put those goals aside, and we're going to try and race through it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm going to win.
Just
Yeah.
be healthy.
I'm gonna be the
That's
first one
that's
over
the
the
goal for
line.
January.
Yeah.
Just choose whatever is going to support you
Yeah.
in the healthiest month you can create here.
Yep.
Getting through
Yep.
January.
Getting
Yep.
through January.
We
Yeah.
need a paper chain so we can tear one chain off each
Yeah.
day. One link off.
Yeah.
We appreciate you, listeners, and have a great
Special shout
Day.
out to Raf Vanderwall. I love you. I love you, Bill. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to It's a Great Day to Talk. Be sure to follow and subscribe to us on your favorite podcast platform.
And until next week,
Get out there and talk.
This has been a production from a podcast studio.